Atraxa Grand Unifier has taken MTG by storm. Jake and I have got a great discussion in this video on whether or not you should be buying it, whether or not you should be selling it. Give me just a second to thank our patrons, and when we get back, you'll see the discussion on a card that I think people might have misjudged out of the gate, but it only took a few days for it to explode in price.
Highest level of gratitude to our patrons who power the channel through Patreon. Check out the Patreon link in the description to learn about monthly giveaways, VIP Discord access, and even our official playmat.
It's just a force of will, force of negation, grief, unmask, force of vigor, endurance, subtlety, and solitude. Comes into play with natural order. You can Summoner's Pact it. You can reanimate it. I mean, everybody was like, boring. Huge value card. That's it.
All right, so I do see copies of this for around 10 on eBay, which means that, I mean, these were a lot cheaper. I remember seeing these for like 6s. So it's going through a correction, and I don't know how long these 10s are going to hold out.
Well, if it's got 10s, I would say buy them and immediately list them on TCG Player for 25, because the whole page of latest sales is full with today's sales. And
oh, I see. A lot of these 10s that I'm seeing are out of stock.
Got you. Yeah, I'm sure that
I see.
I'm sure that people went through and snapped them up.
Sorry, 40 is the lowest I have on eBay.
Yeah.
So wow, what an adjustment out of nowhere. Holy shit.
The other day,
if you had been buying these at 10s or sub 10, you just made so much money on this card. That's crazy as hell.
Watching Crokeyz play Atraxa in standard, consistently hitting 3 cards minimum.
Yeah.
4 cards most times. And then you're up to like 7 cards. Because you're picking types, not colors, like Niv Mizzet. All
right, so not financial advice, but if you have this card and you're not using it,
dude,
I would 1,000,000% flip it into FOMO right now. I just see like there's people that are trying to sell base copies of this card for $100. And I'm not saying that that's selling. I will look at completed listings and just give my thoughts on it over here.
No, I completely
oh my god, they were 6s, dude. They were 6s. Here's a bunch that sold for 7s and 8s. Yeah.
Well, it just at first looked like big dumb value commander. But then people were like, oh wait, we don't have to pay 7 for it to be on the battlefield.
We should read it.
And it refills your hand.
Exactly.
And after it refills your hand, it's a damn threat. It's a legitimate threat. Because it's got Vigi too. It does everything. And like you just said, like who said, Keto said, it says when Grand Unifier enters the battlefield, not when you cast Atraxa Grand Unifier. So what CGB did here was he built a deck with Atraxa in it and Chaotic Transformation, which is a sorcery. Exile up to 1 target artifact, up to 1 target creature, enchantment, planeswalker land. For each permanent exile this way, controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a card that shares a card type with it. So it's like a spin the wheel type of deck. We've seen decks like this before that like spin the wheel and try and cheat out an insanely ridiculous card. So we'll watch CGB do it here. We've got Atraxa Grand Unifiers entered the battlefield here. So we're looking top 10. So he pulls a sorcery here. Land. And then it's all enchantments past that. So he sort of misses here, but still gets 3 cards.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and he gets the second trigger as well because both Atraxas came into the battlefield and our opponent scoops.
It's just that card advantage, man. The velocity that comes with it. It's essentially a toolbox card in a way too, is like being able to grab certain things. I mean, it's just, it's so much power. It's so funny moments this. We need to take moments like this and remember them because hindsight is 2020, right?
Yeah.
Just a few days ago, this card was a nothing burger, and everybody was just kind of like, whatever.
Womp womp. Well, you're absolutely right, and it didn't help. Okay, so look at this. He's casting one with the multiverse. We'll come right back to this. You're absolutely right, Jake. It didn't help that people were really excited for the Atraxa, and then the Atraxa was disappointing according to what they wanted the Atraxa to be, including myself.
Yeah, Crokeyz is really good too. Yeah,
huge Crokeyz fan, huge CoverGoBlue fan. We're watching CoverGoBlue here. He's got 170,000 subscribers, so I mean, us saying this is a drop in the bucket. But if you're not subscribed, go subscribe to CoverGoBlue.
He could be moving the price of the card just by showcasing just how degenerate it could be. Because now because this is standard, right?
Yep, Covert and Crokeyz both doing it. Look at this. So one with the multiverse from Brothers War. You can look at the top card of your library anytime. You can play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Once during each of your turns, you can cast a spell from your hand to the top of your library without paying its mana cost. So I wonder, do we already know what's on top? But he plays one with the multiverse. And the top card, nope, he did not know that. The top card was Atraxa, Grand Unifier. Casts it for free. So we got 4 picks here. We got a sorcery, a land, an enchantment. Oh, and an instant with big score.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, and look at our opponent's hand.
Look at that value.
Opponent's hand has 2 cards, and we've just put a 7/7 with ridiculous pressure. Plus, you know, why not? CGB is an incredible deck builder and a true degenerate. Let's just put Wandering Emperor into Grand Unifier as well. Yeah, so the thing is like, this card is...
Have fun.
This card seems like it's very for real, but I think that the only move here is sell. This is the time. If you pulled this in a pre-release... Go flip it.
Yeah.
$35 current price points. We're selling for 35
are there any
40?
for that amount right now? Those are available. So if you wanted to, you could get one right now for right under 40.
Yeah, the lowest available copy is a light plate. The lowest available near mint foil, we'll say like this, $40 shipped.
I think it plays less in Commander. I wouldn't want it as my Commander. It's already very expensive and you would need to ramp to it. And it's not really how we're talking about playing it, right? Like a lot of the ways we're talking about playing it is like pitch it and then get it out for cheap. The only way you can't really do that in Commander.
Only way I would see this in Commander in any of my decks is if I was playing some kind of 4 or 5 color Reanimator variation.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I'm going to go Buried Alive
and
this thing.
Have it in the 99.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the card advantage is great, but yeah, you want it in the 99. You don't want it at the helm.
No, you want to discard it or go get it out of your library and put it right into your graveyard.
Yeah, it's just so freaking expensive at the helm. I don't want it as my commander. Yeah.
So spoiler alert, we've got a new episode of What We'd Buy for February coming out next week, and my pick on Monday, when we shot the episode, was Atraxa Grand Unifier
at 10
showcase version at $10. I was like, I think that it's a little bit better than a $10 card. I think people are kind of low on this one right now, but I don't think it'll get much higher than that. I just think $10 is a really good pickup price for this card because I think people will want this one going forward. And to me, this is the definitive treatment. Like, these treatments are all pretty dope, but this is just one of the sickest pieces of MTG art I've ever seen in my life. And so for me, I would definitely pick this up at $10. Whoops, should have done that. Okay, so this is Crokeyz version. You can see drag to the bottom there, make disappear. He's running all of the Triomes, Reckoner Bank Buster.
Dude, Reckoner Bank Buster, that was a card I was buying at $1 because it was super cheap and everybody was sleeping on it, and I love Reckoner Bank Buster.
But see, you slam all that stuff. Yeah, so we destroyed target non-artifact creature there. Fine. But look at our opponent. 2 cards in hand, 8 swamps. We have got Leyline of Binding ×2, make disappear and drag to the bottom, which is all removal. Then Reckoner Bank Buster to refill our hand. This is absolutely a brutal card. And so if it's got the mana to support it in standard, yeah, you may see it be a little higher. Like you were saying, you may see it be a little higher in the meantime, because it might like survive just because it's in multiple constructed formats.
That's where I'm at on it. Caveman Terror says FOMO hype after some streamers broke it, right? Which is what we're talking about.
That's
with
what we think.
Crokeyz and CoverGoBlue.
Yep.
But then also price fixing, which we could talk a little bit about. You know, when you have a card that's a rare or a card that's an uncommon, it doesn't really make sense to like buy out copies of it. But when a card is mythic and you see that it's going to be desirable across multiple formats, and mythic means that it's easier to buy up copies of it, especially cheap copies, because there's going to be less of them out there. That's what's going on with the price fixing. Is like people are buying it out, and right now it's just going through a big weird kind of like correction where it's hard to tell if its price is going to hold or not. That's kind of where I'm at on it. Like yesterday or on Monday when Joel was talking about the card at 10, the risk was low. It was low risk. At this point, buying it, you're buying it because you want it for a deck. You're not buying it because you're trying to speculate on it going higher. Right now, you have missed the train, baby. This is where we go. There is always going to be another card that could spike that you could get in early on. But right now is not when you buy this card. 100%. You don't buy the train once it's left the station. When the rockets go into the moon, you don't buy on the way to the top.
My opinion should not influence what you do with your cards or your money. My opinion is, if I had a copy of Atraxa Grand Unifier, I would be trying to sell it right now to rebuy it in 6 months when nobody cares about this set anymore.
It will have an oil slick version, which is important to think about.
That's the other piece.
Complete bundles. Because if it does take off in Legacy, you will have people that seek out the most difficult to find version for their deck. I just don't know if I can reliably be like, oh yeah, I'm building my entire deck around 4 cards. Now, I'm not saying there aren't other great things that you can reanimate. Like, this could be 4 cards out of, 12 great reanimation targets. So
look at this.
I think it's fun. I think it's
completed listings. We've got 3 completed listings today. This is the Atraxa Grand Unifier Oil Slick Raised Foil. Phyrexia all will be 1. 3 completed sales today of the near mint foil here. $199.
Look at those ones that got soaked up. Those 70s.
Oh, dude, they got snapped.
Just absolutely soaked. What were the lowest they sold for? I see 70s. Some people got in at 70. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it went preview down to the days following, and then between the 10th and the 11th.
Oh man, yeah. Look at those bids at the top. Holy fuck, that's crazy to me. Buying that at 218, that is like insane FOMO, dude. That's like. Yeah,
where do you think it's going? Seriously, why do you need it so bad? You know what's interesting is I can foresee another miniature spike off of this card because it's got that keyword battle on it. That Lord of the Rings set is supposed to be a straight into modern set, right? And I have to imagine that battle, Lord of the Rings, huge battles as set pieces, the battles are almost characters themselves in Lord of the Rings. And so I can see this spiking a little bit again whenever whatever the like killer battle card is, from that Lord of the Rings set, they're going to be like, oh my God, are you playing Atraxa Grand Unifier Helm's Deep? And you'll be like, hell yeah, I am, baby.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. You're laughing, but that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
So. Yeah.
Oh, dude, are you playing Atraxa Nazgul at the Bridge? Yeah, dude.